Okay, so you've almost definitely got a bottle of this stuff sitting in your kitchen pantry right now. But what if I told you that this super common condiment is actually a powerhouse of some pretty incredible science? Today, we are uncorking the surprising secrets of vinegar.
And right away, we run into a puzzle. I mean, we're always told to avoid processed foods, right? But vinegar, well, it's basically spoiled wine. So, how on earth can this highly processed thing be so packed with health benefits? It doesn't make sense. Well, we're about to find out.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with its kind of weird origins. Then we'll dive deep into the actual science of sour. After that, we'll uncover some of the most surprising health benefits, help you pick the perfect bottle at the store, and finally show you some smart ways to actually use it.
All right, let's jump in. First things first, what is vinegar, really? To get to its secrets, we've got to start at the very beginning. You know, the name itself kind of gives it away. Vinaigre. That's French for, you guessed it, sour wine. It's made in this fascinating two-step process. First, yeast turns sugar into alcohol. But then a special kind of bacteria comes in and turns that alcohol, which, by the way, is a known carcinogen, into something called acetic acid. And that acid is the magic ingredient that gives vinegar its sour kick and all those health perks. And this is what's so wild to me. We're trained to think that the more processed a food is, the worse it is for you. But vinegar just flips that whole idea on its head. You take a carb, process it into alcohol, and then you process it again into something that's actually good for you. It completely breaks all the rules. Okay, so how does this sour liquid actually work its magic once it's inside our bodies? Well, the science points to two really powerful mechanisms.
So, how does it all work? Well, scientists have a couple of main theories. The first one is a bit of a mouthful: mitochondrial uncoupling. Basically, the acetic acid acts like a messenger. It tells our tiny cellular power plants, our mitochondria, to get a little bit leaky and waste some calories as heat. The second theory is that it activates a really important pathway in our metabolism called AMPK.
And AMPK, this is a huge deal. Think of it as the master control switch for your body's entire energy economy. When AMPK gets flipped on, your body starts burning more sugar for fuel, it stores less fat, and just generally runs more efficiently. It's the very same switch that gets flipped when you exercise. So, we've got the science down, but what does all that complex stuff actually mean for our day-to-day health? Let's look at the real-world, research-backed benefits. Okay, one of the biggest and most well-documented benefits is what it does to your blood sugar. Multiple meta-analyses, that's studies of studies, show that having some vinegar with a high-carb meal can seriously blunt the glucose and insulin spike that follows. I mean, just look at the difference on this chart. That's a massive win for your metabolic health. It can also be a pretty powerful tool for weight management. Get this, a 2018 study found that people who took apple cider vinegar lost, on average, 8.8 pounds over 12 weeks, without changing anything else about their diet or exercise. Nothing. It likely works by making you feel fuller and by giving your metabolism that little boost we just talked about. But the benefits don't stop at metabolism. The research is branching out into other really surprising areas, like our cardiovascular health and even hormone regulation. Yeah, the research just keeps getting more and more interesting. We're seeing studies that show vinegar can help lower that bad LDL cholesterol and even reduce blood pressure. One incredible study found it helped regulate menstrual cycles in women with PCOS. And there's even some early but promising research linking it to improved mood.
So you're convinced, right? You're ready to give it a try. But when you get to the grocery store, you're faced with a whole wall of different vinegars. Which one should you actually choose? Well, it turns out the source really does matter.
This little guide gives us a great breakdown. Aged balsamic, which comes from grapes, has the highest amount of antioxidants like resveratrol. Red wine vinegar is another great antioxidant choice. And then, of course, you've got apple cider vinegar, which is famous for one thing in particular: the mother. And the mother, no, it is not just some clever marketing term. That cloudy, stringy stuff you see at the bottom of an unpasteurized bottle of apple cider vinegar, that's actually made of dead yeast and bacteria. And what we're learning now, which is just incredible, is that even these dead microbes carry information that can help calm our immune system and support our good gut bugs. So yeah, you really do want the good stuff with all that cloudiness in it. All right, we've covered the what, the why, and the which. Now for probably the most important part: how to actually use vinegar safely and effectively.
Look, the easiest and safest way to get started is just by using it in your food. Here's a super simple and really delicious salad dressing recipe from our sources. Just combine some apple cider vinegar and olive oil, add some flavor with things like Dijon mustard and garlic, season it up, give it a good shake, and you are good to go.
Now, a quick but really important warning. Because vinegar has gotten so popular, there are a ton of these pre-made vinegar drinks and wellness shots popping up everywhere. You have to check the label. A lot of these are absolutely loaded with sugar to make them taste better. And don't just look for added sugars, check the total carbohydrates per serving. You might be surprised to find you're about to drink a total sugar bomb.
And finally, let's nail down the safety rules. The key takeaway from all the experts is this. Number 1, never drink it straight. Always dilute it in water or food. This is going to protect your throat, your stomach, and especially your tooth enamel. And listen, if you have diabetes or are on medication for it, you really need to talk to your doctor because its effect on blood sugar is not a joke. It's powerful and it's very real.
So, after all that, we're left with this one big thought. This ancient, accidentally discovered spoiled wine seems to work by flipping these fundamental metabolic switches deep inside our bodies. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could one of the oldest, simplest things in our pantry actually be one of the most powerful keys to navigating our modern health challenges? The science is definitely suggesting it's worth a much closer look.